a fantastic race for sure to see as we look at our cars there. It is very much like watching the view, the camera angle that we get on ITV here from the gantry. And Dave Marshall in the the black car with the red and white stripes, and alongside him is Ross McGregor. Second row, sorry, not Ross McGregor, Jack McIntyre, isn't it, on the front row. Ross McGregor on row 2, I beg your pardon, with Max Edmondson in P4. Jordan Brennan is 5th on the grid, and then third row completed by Dan Zelos. So we've got just under a minute to go for our first race here, Knockhill Circuit. Very quick prediction: who is going to win? Ronan.
I've got a feeling Dave Marshall could win this if he stays nice and consistent. Definitely. Lights are on.
Out go the lights. We're underway here at Knockhill Circuit, heading down into Dufferston for the first time. Dave Marshall running side by side at the moment with Jack McIntyre. It's a good start. Hold on to your hats as they go down through. Leslie's heading down towards McIntyre's for the first time. It's Marshall out front. McIntyre, McGregor is in third place. Then Max Edmondson. It's a very quick and clean start, I've got to say, by these guys. Let's hope that we don't get any big shenanigans, or have I missed something? Because we've got a safety car deployed. 6 or 7 cars towards the back of the field. I've got to say I was very much focused on the lead runners, so we've got a virtual safety car. So Rich Hayden will be in the seats, and this again, it does tend to mirror real life, doesn't it? You can get these, in speedway, motorbike speedway terms, they call it first lap bunching or first corner bunching. And when you've got so many evenly matched competitors all together, there is going to be a little bit of a shenanigan going on.
Yeah, absolutely. I was focused on the front as well. It was a really good start from Dave Marshall, but just panned to the back of the pack, and Damien Hall was off on the grass with a few other cars. It's really easy to get tangled through the first section of Knockhill at the start of a race. It's a very unforgiving circuit, and one car makes a mistake and they can easily be 3, 4, 5 cars off. But they're punching back up onto the safety car now, and hopefully we'll not have too many more incidents and we can have some clean racing.
Fingers crossed for that. I meant to have a look actually. I don't think I spotted the little escape road as they come down Duffers. Is that not on the sim? It probably doesn't matter, but it's just a tiny little detail. Into the tri-oval section, safety car pulls off there. So Rich Hayden's job, we thought was done. She takes the shortcut through there. We're heading back up to the pits. Here we come up to the restart of our first race, and it's Dave Marshall from Jack McIntyre, Ross McGregor in third, Max Edmondson. Let's have a quick look. Mike Epps is up to fifth, so Epps making a wee bit of progress. I know that Dave Marshall's only really concerned about getting that drive in the sim category, but it is very, very key to see for us who takes the overall championship. Lots of support coming in for Alfie Glennie and Andy Glennie coming through, and Laura Lynn Brennan saying hello as well. Andy French says hello as well, and Gail Whitfield saying hello and good luck to Max Coates. Max Coates up to 11th place. There might have been a bit of sandbagging from Max in qualifying, but he's actually done quite well, and he's up to Lewis Brown now, so they are 10th and 11th place. At the moment trying to focus on Jordan Brennan in P6 down behind Mike Epps in 5th as they climb up the hill. Ashley Beard says go on Max Coates as well. Coatesy having a trademark run through the order, that's what he's going to be hoping to do. He's got Luke Kidsley behind him, Josh Martin 13th, Isaac Smith down in 14th, the regular podium finisher is Isaac Smith, certainly well capable of it. Liam Lambert 19th, just checking on him. Jack Noller is in 18th place, trying to get up into the points as well. We ride on board with Mike Epps, looking at the back of Max Edmondson, here through Clark Curve. Steep climb here, isn't it, Ronan?
It is. It's a really difficult corner, actually. It's all off camber and you kind of turn in a little bit blind, and you've really got to strike the curb on the inside well to get a good run to propel you down the back straight. It's such a vital pivotal corner of the track. It's a long run down the railway straight to the hairpin to end your lap well.
And then this sort of massive climb, it's very well worth doing a circuit walk. We've done that a few times at Knockhill. I mentioned, if I go on qualifying day, I'll walk around the outside of the track, but the actual track walk itself will give you a really good idea about the gradients. It was Josh Hislop trying to fend off Josh Martin at the moment. Jack Noller is in behind. Jack, a university student studying motorsport engineering. It's only his second series in Assetto Corsa racing. Was third in the BRRC TT Cup last year. So quick peddler is Jack Noller. 18th at the moment. So we look back from Josh Hislop. Ryan Elliott losing a little bit of ground on him in a minute. Here is Jack Macklow, P2, and this is crucial stuff here for Jack McIntyre. Dave Marshall is in front at the moment, but Jack Mack knows that he's got the pace around here from the practice session, from the early stages of qualifying, and he's all over the back of Dave Marshall. We've got a good battle on for the lead here.
I think Dave's got his work cut out a little bit, defending from Jack here. He just needs to park it on the apexes and maybe potentially white line it for the rest of the race on the inside to stop Jack getting any sniff of getting past him here. But a really good start. These front three, it could go either way here.
Yeah, Ross McGregor, let's not forget him in third place. This is a super debut from him. Top three getting away. Mike Epps is trying to close in. If these three back each other hard enough, that could give Epps the chance to close up. But Dave Marshall, looking back at the moment, has got that lead. The danger point here, I suppose, has got to be the corner we're going through now. If Dave Marshall leaves enough of a gap for Jack McIntyre to go up on the inside line, then that could be his best move. We'll wait and see. I wonder if there's an option to run Knockhill reverse at any time, or whether they do in Simland. That's not something I've seen, but I'm sure it does happen. But it's Marshall out front still. Been told by Mike it does happen. Thanks for that, Mike. Very, very close for the lead here. So Marshall from McIntyre. Best lap at the moment for Dave Marshall of 55.272. Jack Mack's best one of 55.4. So Marshall in line for the extra point for the fastest lap. Of course, picked up a point for that pole. It's a championship gap to Mike Epps. Is now in terms of he's just down to 2 points.
It's really tight into the hairpin. There's a couple of cars up the inside. Jordan Brennan's right in the mix of things with Max Edmondson. The top two guys need to watch out, because I feel that Mike Epps could really come into the mix here.
Yeah, he could very well do so. So Epps will be trying to go through. I'm just looking at the timing screen. We're looking at Dave Marshall. Marshall's fallen away. Now I've got to be honest, I actually flicked green over to the timing screen when I was talking to you about the fastest lap. So it's Jack Mack out front now. So apologies for missing out on that. But as I say, I was flicking windows and having a look at that. So Jack Mack out front and Epps ahead of Marshall. So where we were talking about the championship lead, potentially going back to Mike Epps now with third place, which is 15. It'll be a tied championship point. Jordan Brennan 6th place. Matt Richards there in the mix as well. Looks on the outside line. Then Max Coates up to 8th. Lewis Brown 9th. Robbie Stapleton 10th. Point scorers completed by Isaac Smith. Then Ryan Elliott. Dan Zelos 13th. Dan's in the points. Josh Hislop 14th. Luke Kinsley in 15th place ahead of Rob Butler. So I'm not sure what happened to Marshall in. Right, I think he's maybe curbed it, but again, apologies for missing that. It's typical, isn't it? If you look at your notes or change screens, then that happens. Got a message from Ryan Elliott saying good luck to Ryan from CC Sim Racing, and that's Craig Cook. So thanks for that. So Jack McIntyre still out front. Risk looking at the timing screen again. Jack Mack with a 154.155. So Jack Mack now with the fastest lap unofficially. Ross McGregor is in P2, 1.1 seconds down. Mike Epps in third. Epps has got 3 sim races between himself and Max Edmondson in terms of the Real World Driver Championship. The Real World Drivers, for a prize, by the way, of course, get sim equipment. And if you need your sim sorting out, talk to Virtual Reality Racing Club. They'll be pleased to get you going, get you with the appropriate kit. And our sim race is of course winning the chance to go out and either race or test with the Cooper Challenge. Dan Zelos has a little bit of a moment there, collects it up well. Zelos running in 13, chasing Ryan Elliott. And there we go, in car with Ryan chasing Isaac Smith at the moment in 11th place. Robbie Stapleford in 10th. When I just look down the quality of this entry, Ronan, it is really, really good, with the likes of Isaac Smith there, Dan Zelos, some great drivers, and I'm guessing it could be easy for those guys to get disheartened if they're not right up at the sharp end. But it is a case of so many good drivers, somebody's going to be disappointed somewhere along the line.
Well, yeah, you could say that. I think I've been quite surprised. The standard's been fantastic, but the sim racers have been constantly at the front of the pack in every qualifying session and every race. I don't know if that's maybe because they've got more experience on the sim and they've been practicing more than the real world racers, but it's great to see the mix of the two battling with each other. You know, Mike Epps is more doing virtual racing at the moment, but obviously with being a real world racer, he's been bringing that experience that he's got to the virtual world and be doing a great job. But it's quite funny when you look at 8th, 9th, 10th, Max Coates, Lewis Brown, Isaac Smith, they're all real world racers, and they're at the bottom end of the top 10, so hats off to the guys that are doing a great job from the virtual world.
Absolutely right, and fascinating to watch how this all pans out. So it is still Jack McIntyre there. We are into the second half of the race, and on board with Matt Richards chasing Max Edmondson. Max 5th in the championship, 2nd in the real world category. He's a Carter, young Carter. Max Edmondson has represented the UK racing in karts abroad over a couple of seasons, so not short of travelling, but still a youngster and gaining plenty of experience. Jordan Brennan 7th, Edmondson 5th. Dave Marshall trying to get back on track from 4th place. We know that we will see, I've mentioned this before, but we will see Dave Marshall racing in the Cooper class on one of the Toka rounds this year when they're guesting. And what he's hoping to do, obviously, if he can win the sim category, is make it that he's out for 2 rounds. It will be a Toka round for last year's prize, a non-Toka round for this year's winner. Little inset there of Max Coates. We've been pulling Max's leg about the light's a little bit better this weekend, isn't it? So I think the sun might well be out in Scorton this week. Lovely little village, love driving through Scorton. I'm not sure if you've ever been through there. It's probably off the beaten track for you coming down South Ronan, but a lovely place, lovely village where Max lives.
Yeah, I've never been through there, but I really like going to Croft, North Yorkshire. It's a really nice part of the country. It's quite funny sitting watching this and seeing Max in his room in his house just with his beanie hat on and his headset. Yeah, don't get too used to that. At some point we'll need to put all our race gear back on.
Yeah, good comment, mate. Absolutely spot on. We're looking forward to that. Can't wait to get back out. The signs are that we're all moving in the right direction now, which is good. Dave Marshall static in 4th at the moment. In car with Lewis Brown. Great to see Lewis back, running in the AOC car. One of our sponsors, so very grateful to see their livery on the grid. Good to see Lewis Brown back. 9th position, chasing Coates at the moment. Ryan Elliott is behind him. Now he's working hard. Josh Hislop making progress meanwhile. Josh there chasing Liam Lambert. Not too much of Liam at the moment, but coming under a bit of pressure from Josh. Liam in 18th place. Best result so far, a brace of 17th places. First race of the year at Brands Hatch. First race at Snetterton last weekend, so it'd be good to see Liam get up into points. But Josh Hislop will be keen as they go over the Brown to the Beatson's Bridge. Beatson's a great company, of course, run by the Marshall family, long-time supporters of racing up here, and John Marshall, former Scottish Classics champion, raced in the Legends Cars Championship in Scotland as well, so I know that Knockhill grateful for their patronage as Isaac Smith going past Ryan Elliott there for 10th position. So nice move, further up the point. It's got a bit of work to do to close down on Lewis Brown ahead of him, but neat move.
Fantastic moves there. Been watching these two for a couple of laps now, going hammer and tongs side by side. Really, really good to see. It's really nice and clean racing as well.
That could be the curse of the commentator, Ronan, when you say 3 races so far. Here are the 2 teammates together, though. So this is for 3rd place. Marshall and Epps. Now Jack McIntyre, remember, is out front. McIntyre on 104 points. So Marshall on 1, 2, 3. We were just questioning whether Epps would let Dave through to get those extra points back and maybe keep a bigger distance. There's a gap on the inside line. Now, was that a let through, Ronan, or a textbook pass?
It looked quite easy to me, but there could be method in Mike's madness there. Yeah, it looked like quite an easy move for Dave. It looked like it was almost a little bit planned halfway down the back straight there, but nevertheless the race is still on.
Yeah, that was a 2-point move championship wise. Now Marshall with the championship lead is or was 20 points by my reckoning clear of Jack Mack. That will make him 18 because that pulls him back, doesn't it? So McIntyre will get 20 for the win. Marshall now in P3 will get 15, so it goes down from 20 to 15, and it would have been 13. So yeah, it's negating the points, and of course Jack Max, he seems to have hit a little bit of a vein of form at the moment, and that could technically or potentially erode Dave Marshall's championship lead in the sim category. So that could have been a key move. We might look back when we're in Brands Hatch. Another move down on the inside line here. Dan Zelos looking to go through, makes the pass, gets past Luke Kidsley. Luke in 14th place at the moment. Provisional pole, because he's got 4 minutes left on the clock. Provisional pole for race 2 is with Robbie Stapleford. Isaac Smith in 11th will provisionally share the front row with him. But Dan Zelos with a few lengths to go to catch up with Robbie Stapleford. And this is for provisional pole. So Stapleford, the car with the white stripe on the bonnet. Dan Zelos behind him would love to get up onto pole position here, and that could work out well for him, but he's dropping back down the order now, so he lost down to 15, so provisional pole maybe going to be out of the question for him. Josh Martin now chasing him, so problems for him. Jack McIntyre still top from Ross McGregor, and a good lead, good healthy lead here from McIntyre over McGregor, with Dave Marshall in 3rd trying to close down. 3-second lead, another 2 seconds adrift at the moment is Dave Marshall, as we ride on board with the top sim lad, 3rd position in the race. And he's just got to try and focus now very much on his racing line, trying to close up on Ross McGregor. Ross, though, we're saying Ross isn't taking points out of the championship, but he is technically here, isn't he? Because he's on 17 points. If he wins this, I'm pretty sure he's not a guest entry. And Ross McGregor in fact showing in the lead now. So what's happened to McIntyre? He's gone through on the inside line. There was a big gap, but McGregor now through into lead position, and McIntyre down into P2, and that closes the gap up for Dave Marshall again. So Marshall 3rd, McIntyre 2nd, Ross McGregor could well take a win. It'll be a fair old story here if he can grab the win first time out. Jack Mack working hard, wants to get back into the lead. Wonder if he curbed it. Didn't quite see, because we were on board with Dave Marshall in that 3rd place, but a big surprise and a change. It's the number 3 car that's in the front position now.
It was a shame actually. It was car 27 of Alfie Glennie. It was a back marker there into the hairpin. I just caught the aftermath of it, and it seemed to really unsettle Jack McIntyre. Also going up the straight as well, so advantage McGregor.
It is, so he's out front at the moment and working hard to try and get back into the mix. So McGregor, the race leader, 1 minute 24 on the clock. That timing has come fairly well for McGregor. McIntyre P2, Dave Marshall is in 3rd place from Mike Epps, then Max Edmondson, Matt Richards in 6th position from Max Coates, Jordan Brennan 8th, Lewis Brown 9th from Ryan Elliott, Isaac Smith 11th, Robbie Stapleton still on that divisional pole at the moment for race 2 in 12th place. The points finishers at the moment, Luke Kidsley 13th, Rob Butler 14th, Dan Zelos in 15th position, chased by Josh Martin. Damien Hall having a decent run at the moment, up into 17th, so just shy of the points as McGregor heads down the railway straight in towards Taylor's the hairpin. Watching Matt Richards chasing Max Edmondson. Edmondson 5th in the race, 5th in the championship standings on 88. He's actually going to close up on Jordan Brennan in terms of the championship. Might even pass Brennan for 4th place in the championship here. They're in separate classes. Brennan sim racer, Edmondson in the real world. 16 seconds plus 1 lap to go. It's been an eventful one.
It has. Looking like we'll have an extra lap at the end here, but I've been really impressed with the sharp end of the grid. Some really good overtakes, clean battles. It's so close, and they're all sort of, you can see that they've almost been improving every lap after qualifying. Nice, and it's been really nice and consistent as well from the guys at the front.
Yeah, it's been good stuff from the guys at the front. And Ross McGregor, means we're going to get a chat with him if he's on the podium. The clock has run down, so we are on the final tour here of our first race at Knockhill Circuit. On board with Dave Marshall. They've really closed in. Marshall here has perhaps got the chance of getting up ahead of his class rival here. I don't think he's going to get to have a battle for the lead, but he's very much in with a shout of getting second place here. He won't do anything silly because he knows at the moment he's got the second place points, and it could have been worse for him to have been a little bit far down the order. Ryan Elliott's still on that, he's now on provisional pole. Robbie Stapleford has gone up to 11th place, so we'll line up on the outside of the front row provisionally. Into Taylor's for the last time, and it's going to be Ross McGregor on his debut who's going to take the win. Jack McIntyre, I think, has managed to fend off Dave Marshall as they come up towards the checkered flag here. It's McGregor that takes the win. McIntyre P2, Dave Marshall is third from Mike Epps. Max Edmondson is next up. Then Matt Richards in third place. Max Coates, Richardson, beg your pardon, finishes in. Matt Richards is in 6th place. Max Coates in 7th. 8th place goes to Jordan Brennan. 9th position is Lewis Brown. 10th is Isaac Smith. 11th, therefore the outside of the front row for race 2 is Robbie Stapleford. And pole position for race 2 goes to Ryan Elliott. So Ryan in with a good shout of taking a first win of the season. Yeah, I think that's a good call, very good call indeed. So we'll see what he can do from 12th on the grid. Normally they're looking at maybe getting up into the top half dozen or so if they can. But we're getting ready for race 2. Lights are coming in. So the inset, you can see the top 12 reversed. The drivers with the work to do here. But quick reminder, Ryan Elliott on pole in the white car. Lights coming on now. 4, 5. Usual wait for the lights to go out. You've got somebody pulling off. Not sure who that is. That Josh Martin maybe that's gone off. Not sure. We'll try and clear that for you as they go into toughest for the first time. What a move by Robbie Stapleford, who looks around the outside line there side by side. We've got cars everywhere. There is a bit of an escape road, isn't there? Tom O'Farrell going through there. Having a look at Ryan Elliott is the race leader. So Elliott, the leader from Lewis Brown in P2. Isaac Smith is third from Matt Richards. It's going to be a safety car, isn't it? Surely on the first lap of race 2, a much more frenetic start. But you tend to get that with, I'm not saying the slower cars, but the drivers that were further back, starting off the front. But we do have the chance now for everything to slow down. But that was a very frenetic start, Ronan.
I didn't really know where to look there, Richard. There was cars flying off left, right and centre, like skittles. Yeah, it just all seemed to be a bit chaotic. Everyone was quite excited for that reverse grid race, I think. But
Hey,
now we've got Ryan Elliott in the lead from Lewis Brown and Isaac Smith, and that's going to be a really exciting restart. I would keep your eyes out on the real world racers here, see what they can do.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. Just looking at the timing screen on the left-hand side, we've got Mike Epps down in 21st place, so he's lost out big time there. Max Coates has as well. He's down in 25th position. Dave Marshall has moved up into 6th position from, fifth, sixth row of the grid. Jack McIntyre in 7th has made great progress as well. Dan Zelos is in 10th. Liam Lambert came through all that as well. Very well threaded by Liam Lambert, coming through into 11th place. So extremely well read from him. Josh Hislop behind him, then Jack Noller, Simon Reed and Max Edmonds in 15. They round out the point scorers at the moment as we get ready to have another go at it, but this could be history repeating itself for Lewis Brown if he can take a win in the reverse grid race. We were listening to you, Ronan, saying about Lewis doing so last year, but Ryan Elliott is a difficult guy to pass, so we'll see whether he can hold on, maybe extend the lead here in race 2. Elliott from Brown, Isaac Smith, again good to see Isaac in a potential podium position in 4th, in 3rd. Matt Richards is in 4th place from Jordan Brennan, then Rob Butler in 6th. Decent enough restart. Sometimes you need that just to calm everybody down.
You do, definitely do. Still a little bit handbags and door handles at the lower half of the table standings at the minute, though. They seem to be, again, getting a little bit overzealous with some of the driving.
Dave Marshall down the inside line there of Jack McIntyre, very neatly done, and that's a good move for Marshall. Significant championship points wise there on the inside of the Eminent Classic Knockhill pass, very neatly done. McIntyre as well was aware that he was there. They're still going side by side, and let's see, there's a little bit of contact between the two of them. How's this going to pan out? I think they've managed to pull it all back together, but Jack Mack loses a couple of positions. Rob Butler goes up in the mix. McIntyre not going to be looking the happiest about that. Ross McGregor gets a knock as well, drops down to 13th place, maybe a little bit further down to 16th. So McGregor, after the glory in race 1, finds himself a little bit further down. We're focused on Liam Lambert, still in the points potentially. Very, very busy here. Lambert down to 13th, now down to 15th. It's very physical in those last point scoring positions.
Safety cars deployed again, by the looks of it. No safety car. So it's actually a really shaken up standing at the minute. You've got a lot of the guys that were at the sharp end in the first race that are now struggling to make it into the top 15, top 12. So really, really mixed up, but that's what we also like to see, and that's also one of the benefits of a reverse grid.
Yeah, that's exactly what it's all about, isn't it? And Ryan Elliott's still out front. He's just over half a second clear over Isaac Smith now in P2. So Isaac up into 2nd from Matt Richards. Lewis Brown down to 4th place. So our prediction that Lewis might get a reverse grid win. At the moment on the back burner, say he can't come back from 4th, because he very definitely can, as we watch the battle for 2nd position. Very close indeed between the 4 of them. Elliott clear at the moment, side by side. Brown looking to try and go through. Matt Richards has got his nose in front at the moment. Isaac Smith is at the head of them. A little bit of a Bosch on the side there. That's something that Clark, of course, Andy Ringland will probably watch back. There's an awful lot of work. We've said this before. Awful lot of work for Andy Ringland, Clark, of course, Rich Hayden to do in between. I know some of the drivers perhaps not particularly happy sometimes with judicial decisions, but that again mirrors what happens in real life. The drivers are never happy with what Clark, of course, will have to say. But anyway, that will be looked at. Matt Richards immediately in front of us. We are on board with Juggy Bear, Jordan Brennan. We were looking from 5th position. Jack McIntyre in 8th, so a little bit of progress for Jack McIntyre. It's Elliott still out front from Isaac Smith and Lewis Brown. Brown in the AOC car, there he is, coming under pressure here from Matt Richards, who's looking at the outside run here as they come down into Dupper's Dip. Nothing doing here, very close, little tap on the back end, outside line as they come into McIntyre's. If you get a good wide run into McIntyre's, sometimes the momentum can carry through to make a move into the chicane. Didn't quite work out there for Richards, but you can see he's really thinking about whether he can get past and how he can get past Lewis Brown. Brown, though, very difficult man to pass.
Some brilliant defensive driving here from Lewis. It's letting the front two just get the head down and get away with the race here, but Lewis is doing a great job to just slow the car down that little bit extra on the apexes, the corners, and stop the threat of an undercut, especially down the straights here. So looking good.
Yeah, Matt Richards was looking on the outside line there of Lewis Brown, and as a result that left the door open for Jordan Brennan. Jordan saw the opportunity and slotted through, and so good stuff from him. Another good message from Marcus Peterson saying good luck Ryan Elliott. Ryan's doing well. We've got a real mess on there. Jack McIntyre is off the track, so it's Mike Epps coming through in the black and blue car, nipping through. So Epps up into the top 10. It's all changed. Robin Stapleton goes through ahead of Dan Seelos. Stapleton up into 8th place from the front row. He's recovering. And this is a look back from Juggy Bear with Matt Richards trying to get back on him. Matt there was, as we said, optimistically looking around the outside line of the hairpin. Fair play for him for having a go, but it did leave the door open. Brennan now chasing Lewis Brown. And look at the speed that the number 44 car has got. Matt Richards having a look on the outside line, very nearly off the track, but trying everything he can. But now, of course, getting sucked into the back of Dave Marshall, who's coming up to play with him as well.
It's really, really great stuff to watch here, Richard. Jordan's managed to get a little bit of breathing space there, but that's the fantastic thing with a one-make tin top series such as the Mini Challenge. You know, it's so hard when you're trying to battle with the cars ahead, trying to overtake, that sometimes you can leave yourself open to losing positions as well. But that's why we see some really exciting races and so many changes for position throughout. Absolutely right.
Sadly, the damage is claimed to Damien Hall. He reports on social media that he's out of the race with a damaged car. So we wish him well. Look forward to seeing him at Silverstone next time out. That's Elliott from Smith still out front. I'm not even going to bother looking back. There is a disconsolate Damien Hall in our inset. Disappointing for him. Rob Butler being passed here by, or about to be challenged by Jack Mack. So McIntyre in 12th place, all over the back of Rob Butler. Rob again, a top driver, difficult man to pass, coming up through the chicane. Those two having a good run. Jack Davidson next up from Max Coates. Coates has done another very good recovery here. As we've seen, we don't want to see Max doing the recoveries. We want to see him up the front, up the sharp end all the time. But super recovery drive from Max Coates from, I think, you know, right down near the back, up into 14th place. So some really good passing for him. As we watch Jack McIntyre getting stuck in again. Rob Butler immediately in front. That is for 11th place. So some useful points in the offing there. Still Elliott leading by 6/10 from Isaac Smith. I think Smith is getting closer. Lewis Brown in 3rd. That's having a bit of a dive there as they go up the straight once again. Coates 13th. Jack McIntyre his next target. Back with the McIntyre Butler battle. Dan Seelos ahead, and Dan's still scoring points today. He's in 10th place here, Dan. Mike Epps in 9th ahead of him. You think you've got the likes of Mike Epps in 9th position. It's just been a tough weekend so far for the championship front runners. Very physical racing, and Knockhill living up to its reputation as a tough circuit. So McIntyre's still 12th. And Seelos is going to be, he's being closed in on here by Rob Butler. 11th and 12th positions. Elliott now the gap down to 3/10.
I've got a feeling that Andy Ringland, the clerk of the course, is going to be quite busy this afternoon. Been some few incidents on track, some interesting driving standards in the lower half of the pack. Oh, as we see that
was a flyer
incident, there. Yeah, a flying car into the first corner, literally. But going back to what you were saying, Richard, about the clerk of the course, it's great that we've got that at this level. You know, it just shows how important and how serious the E-Series sim racing is. You know, there's some fantastic prizes that have been put up on offer for the real world category and the sim racers. So when you've got such great prizes, I think it's only right that we do have judicials, and there's been a lot of drivers that have been getting points deducted on their overall championship points.
Yeah, they've all got to behave themselves, and it is, as you say, very much a professional outlook to keep the whole thing together, to keep the whole thing, and it's brought more people into the championship than you will lose. It always will work that way. We had a momentary look at the top three. Ryan Elliott still coming under pressure from Isaac Smith, with Lewis Brown in third place, Andy Dorman in 21st at the moment, Tom O'Farrell ahead of him. Good to see Alfie Glennie making progress. Alfie in 19th position here. Isaac Smith's got the lead, so Isaac Smith going through to the lead. The challenge on. He's been challenged by, by Lewis Brown going through. Lewis Brown into P2. So side by side, this will help Ryan Elliott if he needs help. I'm not sure Ryan does need help because he's a fast enough peddler on his own, and he is out front. But Lewis Brown, I said earlier on in the race, don't write him off because he might have dropped down to fourth, but now back up into P2, and this is the Lewis Brown that we know and love, working his way through the Lincolnshire youngster up into P2. Elliott's still the leader, Lewis Brown second, Isaac Smith third. Don't write off Isaac Smith either, he'll get stuck in. Quick look down the order again at Andy Dorman, Tom O'Farrell, Max Edmondson 20th, 21st and 22nd position in the race at the moment. Top points, Jack Noller 15th at the moment, so he's the last point scorer. Alfie Glennie in 19th, so Alfie potentially on here for his best finish, Alfie Glennie, and that's the reason that I wanted to single him out. So good stuff by Alfie Glennie in this race. Now he'll be pleased to make a little bit of progress. So there is Alfie. You can see he made good progress from the previous one. He's in the Graves Motorsport car. A little bit shy of points positions at the moment, but good to see him bang some points in. Hopefully as he gets a little bit more experience with the rig and sim racing as we go on. Back with the front runners, at 5th position Matt Richards at the moment, chasing Isaac Smith. Dave Marshall meanwhile has got ahead of those two and up onto a podium in a reverse grid. Hopefully I'll be able to hear him on the podium this time. Apologies again for the sound issues that I've had, but it's Elliott from Lewis Brown, Isaac Smith down to 4th, Dave Marshall in 3rd. 5 minutes on the clock, so still a quarter of this race to go. Looking at the gap, 1.5 seconds. Dave Marshall here, I wouldn't bet against him for the win, Ronan.
Absolutely. He's I think I'm trying to choose my driver of the day as we go here, and Dave at the moment could be on for that nomination because he's a bit of a postman race driver, really. He's always delivering, you know. the results are always really strong. They're always in the top 5 and bagging solid points for the championship. So keep your eyes on Dave here. He could potentially go on to win this race, but I've got a feeling Lewis Brown could also throw up a surprise. You never know.
Yeah, could well do. So let's keep our eyes on Dave Marshall. I've lost pictures at the moment, so you'll have to bear with me while I get those back.
See Mike Epps there on screen in 9th place. It's been a bit of a frustrating day on the sim for Mike. Obviously some of the other cars down in 19th, for example. Max Edmondson, he had a really good first race, but it's been a frustrating second race. Also Ross McGregor, outstanding in race 1, and he's unfortunately in 25th, so it just shows you that on a really tricky circuit with a lot of incidents, how it can go wrong.
Right, we've got the pictures back now, so apologies for that again, very glitchy today, but back with us, and Mike Epps working hard.
Great move there on Robbie Stapleford.
Yeah. So Epps up into 8th place, still working hard for the points, and just looks so cool, doesn't he, in his little Corbeau seat there as well. All the gear, plenty of idea. Personal, apparently. Oh, he has got has he got his name on the back of the seat as well? So Epps having a good run, 8th position, but Ryan Elliott's still up front, 3/10. Battle for the top end of things now. Dave Marshall putting pressure on Lewis Brown. This is what Lewis Brown wants to be in a proper battle. And Marshall looking up the inside line here. He's got this position for sure. Big battle on behind. Looking back from Ryan Elliott, so it's Marshall up into P2. Isaac Smith back in the mix as well. I said discount Isaac Smith at your peril. He's back up into 3rd place. Super stuff from Isaac. Really good to see him battling hard. That's the key thing. We're really seeing the potential of this championship. So Josh Martin's having problems with his VR. Feedback coming through from him. But Isaac Smith, super stuff. Dave Marshall again. I don't know. We call Jack McIntyre the silent assassin, but really Dave Marshall has been here as well, working his way through. And Marshall now in front.
Change for the lead there,
yep.
With Isaac Smith dipping 2 wheels into the gravel on the exit of the chicane, and Dave Marshall's taking the lead. So again, so difficult to predict, but Dave goes about things really quietly, and he now finds himself in the prime position again.
Yeah, he's up there, and you would have to say now that he's up there. Mind you, we saw him up the front in the previous race and curving it as he looked for fastest lap. Funny enough, it was me looking at the lap times that missed that in race number 1, but he's not going to make the same mistake again because Dave Marshall doesn't do that. Isaac Smith 2nd still, then Matt Richards now ahead of Ryan Elliott. Lovely move, really working hard these boys. Look at this side by side, Lewis Brown in the mix as well. In black, contact between the two, and sadly off goes Ryan Elliott. That's a big shame for Elliott, who we were expecting possibly for a win, possibly for a podium as well, but now a podium possibility is with Jordan Brennan, who is in 3rd place. So it's Marshall from Isaac Smith, and Jordan Brennan has come through. A great race, probably didn't see a podium coming, but he's up into 3rd place. Matt Richards, who was in the thick of things in that battle, is in 4th place. Then it is Lewis Brown 5th from Josh Hislop 6th, Mike F7 from Ryan Elliott, who's recovered for 8th place. Jack McIntyre in 9th. There is Ryan Elliott ahead of Jack McIntyre. McIntyre having a quiet race, but this has been very visible indeed. 1:05 on the clock, plenty of drama here.
Loads of drama, and that was a really good example of how 2 into 1 doesn't go. It's one corner on this circuit that sometimes you just have to yield, and we saw Ryan Elliott and Lewis Brown coming together. Unfortunately, Ryan was slightly worse off, but it was easily done. Neither of them clearly wanted to give up that position.
No, it's all fiercely competitive, fiercely fought for every position. Jack McIntyre still busy chasing Ryan Elliott. McIntyre 9th, and Ryan Elliott in 8th place. Jack Noller still in the points, 15th from Jack Davidson, Dan Sealos 13th. Max Coates up into 12th. Robbie Stapleton is in 11th. Liam Lambert equaling his career best so far of 17th at the present time. Just needing to try and edge up one more position. 9 seconds left on the clock, so we're going to have one more lap at the completion of this one. Rob Butler putting McIntyre under pressure now as well. And look at the other thing I love about this presentation is the fact that when you get in the scrapes, you get the virtual scuffs on the car as well, and you can see that on Rob Butler's car. It's just so realistic. It
really is. It's I think when you look at this race, it's quite fortunate that it's virtual. Otherwise, there'd be a few pounds being spent on fixing cars. I'm actually wondering if we can request a 3rd race because I'm loving it. There's a lot of action, and I feel there could be so much more to come as well. It's a shame that we've only got 1 lap left.
It is a pity. Dave Marshall is again going to extend his record as being the most successful driver in terms of wins this season. It's going to be a 4th win of the year for him. And who'd have thought that it would come from the reverse grid race, from the 5th row of the grid in this one. Dave Marshall worked his way through, I'm sure he's had a little bit of fortune along the way, but that has to happen. But also an incredible amount of skill as ever from Dave Marshall out front. Isaac Smith P2, good to see Isaac back on the podium, and Isaac here potentially recording his best result of the year. Jordan Brennan in second place, racing hard with him, as up to the flag comes Dave Marshall to take the win. It is going to be Jordan Brennan in P2, Isaac Smith in third place from Matt Richards, Lewis Brown fifth, Josh Hislop in sixth place. Mike Epps will take seventh position from Ryan Elliott. Rob Butler ninth. Max Coates makes it up into the top 10. Good drive through again from Max Coates into the top 10, so good stuff from him. Then in 11th place, Jack McIntyre. Point scorers completed by Ron Stapleton, Dan Zelos, Jack Davidson and Jack Noller.